where do leads come from? So leads come from a couple different ways. So there's so let's stop this real quick and let's go back to that lead generation and let's go into where do you guys enjoy getting your business from? Historically, where have you guys gotten your business from?
Open houses, online leads.
Okay.
Referrals.
What type of online leads, Brian?
I'm a Zillow Premier agent. We've got a IDX website that we, promote heavily.
Okay. So from your website, Zillow, open houses, and I'm sorry, there was another one there. What was the other one?
A lot of referrals.
A lot of referrals. Okay.
Yep.
Do you systematically network to your sphere to get those referrals?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So something that you might want to take a look at, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what we know is that about 10% of a database through after 18 months of systematically communicating with them, 10% of a database you should get business from. So for 100 people in a database that are systematically communicated through value and contribution, after 18 months, you should get 10 closings every 12 months after 18 months. Okay, so once you get that up and running, every 12 months, for every 100 people in your database that you systematically communicate value and contribution to, 10 closings. All right, so if you're looking to say having the most predictable business is to be able to take just not getting those referrals, but also systematically communicating with them. What else? How else? Go ahead, Brian.
I was just say, what does systematic communication look like, right? Because that's my downfall.
Okay.
I'm sporadic at everything.
Okay. So start small. It's going to be my recommendation. Then sit there and say, what is the most that I could do so that I can actually do it and it's going to get done? Start there. Okay. Because I think that the mistake that most people do, if I was to sit there and share with you my systematic strategy, that you would be like, yeah, and get a lot of great ideas, but I don't think that if you don't already having something in place, it's not a wise decision to put together 150 touches in a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just start at 12, or maybe 18, or maybe 24, right? So 24 could be a good number. Whatever it is, it's got to be something that you're gonna nail every single time, and then let's increase it up to at least 36. Okay, so some of the things that you could do, for example, is you could send out a video email marketing. You could touch them on Facebook. You could send them a text. You could send them a postcard. You could do a drop-by. Okay, you could do client appreciation event. Whatever it is that you decide to do, just make sure that you look at that and you're real. No BS. No, like, hey, I'm going to aspire to do this and I've never done it before, but this time it's different. No. Figure out what it is that you're going to do, promise yourself, and then be in integrity and do it. Okay, even if it's 12, it's better than 0. What we find to be able to get that 10% return is that we find it's about 3 touches a month to be able to make that work. Okay, so if you want to aspire for something, I would say the 3 touches a month would be great. And again, it could be Facebook. Like one of my touches is Facebook. Okay, so one of my touches is that on Facebook, we go on there and I'll either send them a message. Every morning I wake up, I send 5 messages, like private face-to-face messages. I sit there and I say, okay, who am I grateful for? And that's sort of like that's not as systematic as some of the other stuff that I do. I just sort of like, who am I grateful for? Hey, Coach James, thank you for this. Right. And then specifically, what am I grateful for? Right. And so but it's a system. I'm doing 5 a day, but I'm just sort of sporadically, whatever. So those are some of the things that you could do, and then get it on a schedule and then make sure that it's followed. Okay. We're going to talk in a later session. We're going to talk about getting a virtual assistant. That would be one of the first things that I ask my virtual assistant to do would be say, hey, look, man, get me on a schedule here. Okay. Like make sure that this happens. Make sure that there's a systematic communication. Okay. The rules of that, it's got to be value. It's got to be contribution. Go from that first and always, and then make sure it's systematic. All right. So does that answer your question, Brian?
Yeah, it helps a lot. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right. What else? What does someone have a time check? I'm going to get gigged again. I got gigged on our last class because
202, Dan.
202. Thank you. I got gigged on our last class because I wasn't paying attention. 202. So we go to 2:30, right? Okay, fantastic. All right. What else we got? What else do we have for ways that we like to lead generate?
Hey, Dan, Jeff here. I did a lot of open houses last year.
Yeah.
And I still have residual. I just closed on a listing, and they're buying a new construction with me all from last year, So open houses were strong. I didn't do them this year, and my sales half my sales came from open house last year, and my sales are tracking about half of what they were last year.
Okay.
So that obviously does work. I've chosen, to kind of do my own listing open houses, and so I need more listings and ideally not a pandemic to increase that. So I started reaching back out to my sphere more because I'd kind of let that go a little bit.
Yeah.
And I use Facebook and events to really be in touch with my sphere and be able to invite everybody to those events. So they would get the invitation, they would see me post about it on Facebook. They would get the reminder. And then most people don't show up, but
doesn't matter.
But they see it, and I really tied that and also into some Facebook groups. Like I was in a challenge group where, we were doing fitness challenges and stuff like a couple years ago, and that led to some business last year where I got referrals. And someone who recognized me from the group when they saw me on my bicycle in Kingstown and bought a house, so just tying into like groups and constantly, without really pushing real estate, but I always try to post things. Like right now, my profile picture is real estate related. So it just lets people know I'm in real estate.
Sort of have it like in the background. You're not hitting them over the head with it. It's like I've got this banner in the background, right? It should say real estate sales. It doesn't. So when we got that, someone made it.
And then I message everybody on their birthday, and I do like certain holidays. I'll go through and just send out a couple hundred text messages or Facebook messages, and I start getting interaction with people. And it's just trying to make sure I stay in touch. I'm not doing it as much and as systematically as I want to be, but I do want to have that. I want to kind of follow that perfect, 36 touch, sell mainly to your sphere, and past clients, because I feel like that's when I'm working with the kind of people I want to work with.
And you could define that. I missed a big one that I neglected to share with you is the key ingredient to this sauce, which is 4 phone calls a year.
Yep.
Okay. So every single thing else that you do is like fueling those 4 conversations, because everything else is like value. Then you earn the right to ask for referral. Okay. Because if I'm getting you an ice cream cone every single day, or I'm buying you a pen every single day, right? I'm doing something to be able to contribute to you in your life. Then I feel as though if it would be okay for me to give you a call every 3 months, check in on you, see how things are going, see how's the family's going. Oh, by the way, who do you know that's in the market right now to buy a home or sell a home or invest in real estate? I know that it's probably a hot market, and sellers are selling pretty quickly. Interest rates are low. I'm just curious, anybody from church, or maybe somebody that you go to school, goes to your parent of your daughter's school, or maybe somebody you work with. Who comes to mind? Now, here's what happens. When you'll know if you're providing them value based off of that conversation, because when I had that conversation, I am at a really, really, really high return on it. Okay. Now, the reality of it is that I'm at such a high return that sometimes I'm doubting myself, because the quality of motivation of the people that refer to me is sometimes low, because it's almost like you provide so much value that the referrer feels guilted into referring you somebody, and they give you somebody that's really not that motivated. But I'm going to tell you, I'm okay with that. I'm grateful for it. I'd rather have to deal with that as a challenge than not having the referral, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What else? How else do you guys like to lead generate? And there's a reason why we're having this conversation right now, because it's going to lead to something here in a moment.
I'd say, in addition to some of the things that were already mentioned, one thing I found to be successful is getting involved in different groups.
Okay.
Right now, doing that on Facebook as opposed to in person. And so I joined, so I'm a military spouse, and so I joined all the military spouse groups in the DC area. And I will go in there, and also I joined all the groups from Kentucky, where I just moved from, and I monitor them. And when there's questions that come up, that it's, anything related to who knows somebody who can do X, Y, Z, or I'm thinking about renting a house on base. How do you guys like it? I respond with, this is a good resource for you. Or when I see the people who are looking to rent, I have a little blurb I can tweak slightly. I throw in there. It's like, it's a great time to buy, blah, blah, blah. Because, I've gotten people who've reached out to me because they saw I posted, not to them, but they read stuff I wrote to other people.
Yeah.
And so they reached out for help.
Fantastic. That's great. So, so interacting on Facebook groups. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of different ways that we can be able to lead generate. We're gonna this is all gonna lead to something here in just a few moments, right? So here's, when we're looking for leads, there's three things that you have to understand: is where do leads come from, who am I saying it to, and what am I saying, right? So these are the things that are gonna allow for you to be able to be successful in lead generation, right? So what am I saying? Do you know your scripts? Who am I saying it to? You're going to certainly understand that somebody that's referred to you is going to be a hotter prospect than a for sale by owner. Okay. And then how often you're saying it would allow for you to be able to be in a position that when you say it more often, then you're going to be more likely to be able to get more business.